Welcome to Hey, It's Carly Rae's Book Club. This is Book Hour, where authors will talk their latest novels, reveal their writing process, and play some fun book games. I'm your host, Carly Rae. Today we have the co-founders of She's the First, Christen Brandt and Tammy Tibbetts. We're going to be talking about their debut book, Impact, a step-by-step plan to create the world you want to live in, why they decided after a decade as co-founders of She's the First to branch out into writing a book, if they had a favorite part of crafting Impact, and whether or not they will be writing more books together. Plus, we're going to see how well these two know each other when we play Game Time. We'll dive in right after this. Hello, Kristen and Tammy. Tell us where you're joining us from.
Hi. Hello from Brooklyn. We're both in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And it is good weather there today?
It's good fall weather. Yeah.
Now, you both are the co-founders of She's the First, a nonprofit organization that fights for a world where every girl can choose her own future. Your work is supported by Michelle Obama, the United Nations, many major brands, and more than 200 campus chapters globally. Kristen, tell us more about what it is you and Tammy do.
Yeah, so She's the First, we started more than a decade ago, 11 years ago. And originally, our goal was to spread awareness about the issue of girls' rights and girls' education around the world. There are 130 million girls, even today, who are still out of school. And so every day at She's the First, we work to ensure that girls everywhere are educated, respected, and heard. And we get to do that through partnerships with local organizations all over the world.
And Tammy, do you have a favorite part of She's the First?
I think for both of us, our favorite part is working with girls. We dedicate the book to them. And over the last decade, we have been so enormously inspired by thousands of girls across the 11 different countries where our programs are. And we have 200 plus campus chapters across the United States and beyond. So we've always been surrounded by such passionate, brilliant young people. And I think we're so motivated. And we hope that this book gives us a chance to talk more about our mission and bring more supporters into the She's the First community. But Impact is really a book for any cause that you're passionate about. We want to guide you to do better and to leave a bigger mark.
Yeah. Now, not only are you two co-founders of such a wonderful nonprofit, you are now authors. How exciting is it that Impact is out in the world, pictured here? In your press release, you said, "This book is for all of us who have ever felt overwhelmed or unsure about how to make a real difference in the world." Tammy, tell us more about Impact.
Yeah, our book, baby, we can't believe it is out in the world this coming week. It has been years in the making. We were working on a book for about 3 years, and it's based on experience that spans the last decade. Kristen and I wanted to write this book because we kept being asked by people, how do I make a difference? How do I start a nonprofit? And it was just impossible to, first of all, make time to answer that question and have coffee dates with everyone who was curious. But also, we didn't really have the answer without knowing someone's background and their life experiences and the unique skills and the resources that they have to offer. So we wanted to write a book where we could guide people on that personal discovery process of figuring out what they're most passionate about, what they have to offer, and then how to match that with what the world needs.
Now, this book was written by both of you. Did you ever think you'd co-write a book?
I didn't, but if you had asked me who I would write or co-write a book with, the answer absolutely would have been Tammy. We've worked together for so long, for more than 10 years. She is the only person that I would take on a project like this with.
One thing I loved about this book is each chapter is unique. Chapter 1 is called Finding Your North Star and opens up with a quote by Linda Ellis and even has a diagram incorporated within it, while Chapter 2 is called Identifying Your Actual Network, with many chapters called Think Like a Founder and Recourse Roundup. Tammy, how did you and Kristen decide on which goes in which chapter?
Yeah, I mean, structuring a book, I think, is even harder than writing, because we had so many thoughts and we went through multiple drafts. But something that really helped us was putting our thoughts and ideas on Post-it notes, and then we would rearrange them on our walls to see, what would make the most sense to guide people on this journey. But it took multiple drafts. And that's something that, I had to actively remind myself that trust the process. I mean, Kristen will remember that there came a point where on the Google Doc where we were writing, I put in the header, trust the process, just keep going, rough drafts suck, just so that I could constantly know, like, don't edit myself as I was writing, because you have to just get it all out there. Because once you do, then you can edit it, then you can rearrange. The most important part is just getting it out of your head.
Yeah. Kristen, did you have a favorite chapter in Impact, a Step-by-Step Plan to Create the World You Want to Live in?
That's a good question. It's like asking us to choose a baby, really. But I am really proud of the chapter called Separating Intent from Impact. And that's because I think it's fair to say that most people in the world, we have good intentions. We want to create positive change, right? We want to leave the world better than when we found it. But not everyone has the knowledge, the know-how, or a guide to figure out how to create positive impact and positive change in the world. And so that chapter especially helps walk you through, how do you know when your good intentions are translating into positive impact?
Yeah. And Tammy, do you have a favorite chapter?
Yeah, I really love the chapter on resilience, partly because I think 2020 has been the year of resilience for most every person. There's a really special story in it about one of the girls who very deeply inspires us. And then there's this little microorganism called a tardigrade that you're going to hear about. And tough as a tardigrade is one of kind of the mantras that come out of the book. And you'll see why when you read it. But I think that chapter has a lot of memorable anecdotes in it and actionable advice. And I think it's been extremely relevant to the times we're living in.
Yeah. Kristen, what is it you hope readers take away from Impact?
I think that often the idea of impact is so overwhelming, and it's so easy to feel so tiny and like you couldn't possibly do anything. And I think if there's one thing we want readers to take away from this, it is the idea that as one person, you can't do everything, but every single person can do something. Mm-hmm. And I hope that when you pick up this book, it helps you to figure out what that one thing might be.
Tammy, anything to add?
Well, definitely what Kristen said is number one, like you're going to walk away with an impact plan. But also, we're looking forward to a community building around this book. And the hashtag is Impact Book. So please use it, because we want to be a part of those conversations and supporting you in the direction that you decide to go in. But also, we hope that you find kind of a new community. Not everyone is lucky enough to be surrounded by other people who share their North Star or their vision for the world. And, maybe our book can help those people who were feeling quite alone about the change they wanted to create with their counterparts around the country and around the world.
Yeah. What about research? Did you both have to do a lot of it when crafting Impact?
To be honest, we lived the research for the 10 years that we were running She's the First. So what we did do was we recognized that our own experience is not the end all be all of experience when it comes to creating an impact. So we did spend a lot of time talking to other change makers, founders, people who had created an impact or kind of figured out their own impact plan for themselves. And we also actually ran focus groups. So we took the framework for creating an impact plan And we tested it with groups of women to see whether or not it was working, how we could make it better. So we spent a lot of time really thinking through how to organize this in such a way that it would be accessible, but also really help readers to create change, to make a difference along the way.
Now, how long did it take you, like, for researching the whole book, would you say?
I think it was, 3 years that from when we just said we're going to write a book together to now. But for this particular, we had some book proposals that didn't quite work out. This was the third one actually that we came up with. I think it was a solid year and a half of like research, writing, and revision.
Well, you heard Tammy and Kristen talk all things impact, a step-by-step plan to create the world you want to live in. Stay tuned because when we return, we're going to find out more about their writing process. Welcome back. I'm your host, CarlyRae, here with authors Christen Brandt and Tammy Tibbetts. Kristen and Tammy, this book you both wrote together. Tell us more about your co-writing. Did one of you focus on the outline and the other the actual writing?
So we actually traded off chapters. So we worked together on the outline and what we wanted the book to say, of course. And then we would switch chapters. One of us would draft it and the other person would come in. But I think one of the biggest benefits, we've talked about how we've worked together for so long, is that sometimes when I was hitting a wall, I recognized that actually Tammy would probably be better at this particular spot, and she would do the same thing. So we pretty intuitively knew when the other person would have a good story to tell or would just do a better job of explaining a concept, and we were able to switch. And then again, because I'm saying we know each other so well, and I know you're going to test us on that shortly. So maybe I should downplay this, but because we know one another's strengths and we know how to work together, the editing process of having one another really just made the book stronger. And so as you read the book, I hope what you'll see is that it feels like a singular voice. You can kind of feel us both in there. And it folds together really seamlessly because we know each other so well and we can weave the words together.
Well, this book has multiple parts and comes complete with an index section. Was the planning of this book and deciding on all the quotes that went into it the hardest part?
I think the hardest part was finding the time to write it because, we're running She's the First as our more than full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we are a tiny staff of 5 people and we wear multiple hats. So, Kristen is running programs. I'm doing communications and development. We don't have assistants. So we're doing everything from like this tiny administrative tasks, all the way up to the big picture strategic thinking. And we had to be extremely disciplined with ourselves to set up time on the weekends, mornings before work, nights, to get this done and to stay on, especially after we sold the proposal, to be able to turn in the manuscript on time. Last year was the 10th anniversary year of She's the First. So we had so much going on between that and, we co-led the Global Girls Bill of Rights, which was a massive worldwide initiative, all while writing, the bulk of this book. So I think that was once we made the time and we sat down to do it, sure. I mean, it was challenging at times, but once we kind of pushed our doubts out of our mind and just wrote from our hearts and from our experience, it really did flow out.
Yeah. Well, I love the cover. It is bright, fun, and really grabs your attention. Were you a part of the design process?
Yeah, so we're really lucky in that our publisher, Public Affairs, they brought us into that process pretty early. So they sent us a few draft ideas. And when we had the first round drafts, they weren't quite speaking to us just yet. And so we actually went to a friend, Timothy Joy, who is an illustrator. And she came back with this idea of creating ripples around the word impact. So we brought this sketch back to our publisher and we said, hey, what do you think about something like this? And they were able to create this design from that. So it is something that it feels really personal to us, and it's something we really come to love. What you'll notice if you follow us on Instagram is that we both have a lot of pops of yellow in our life now. We've really come to embrace this as a color that we own. So it is something that we're really proud of, and we're really glad that our publisher was so gracious in working with us to create a design that we loved.
One thing I'm curious about is if you always wanted to be authors.
I can't say that I did. Both of us had the original dream of being magazine editors and writers. I think for myself, I was much more comfortable with shorter form writing. As a girl, as a teenager, I really never imagined that I would write a book myself, which is kind of surprising looking back on it. I'm like, why didn't I think I was capable of that? But I think it's just a good reminder is that you always, there are dreams out there bigger than what you can imagine at this moment. And for me, the book is one example of that.
And sometimes you rediscover things. So when I was little, I did think I was going to be an author. And actually in third grade, over summer break, I wrote a novel that was heavily influenced by the Animorphs. And I wrapped it up and I sent it to my third grade teacher, on vacation in Arizona or wherever she happened to be, because I was so proud that I had written a book. I mean, it was probably 25 pages long, but it was, it was a book for 10-year-old Kristen. And then that was something I kind of forgot about. And it was replaced by all of these more realistic dreams of what I wanted to be and do. So now having a book more than 25 pages long that has my name on it is a really incredible thing.
Yeah. Well, you heard Kristen and Tammy talk about their writing process. Stay tuned because when we return, it is game time.
Thank you for choosing Three Brothers Wineries. I'm Erica Policelli. I'm one of the partners here at the winery, and I want to tell you a little bit more about our estate. We were founded in 2006 by Dave and Luann Mansfield. We have 40 acres of grapevines, a fully operational farm. All of the wines you're tasting today are from our farm. We have 2 female winemakers, Kim Marconi and Paige Vinson. On our campus, we actually have 3 wineries and a microbrewery. We have an extensive portfolio of not only wine, but also beer, hard cider, wine spritzers, and wine slushy, all manufactured here on site. When we opened our doors in 2007, we had a modest staff of 10. We've grown to employ 40 full-time and 100 part-time employees. We pride ourselves on creativity, innovation, and our company culture. When you make a purchase from Three Brothers Wineries or Warhorse Brewing, you're supporting a majority women-owned small business, and we thank you for that.
Welcome back. It is game time. Tammy and Kristen, for the first game, we are going to see how well you two know each other.
Let's do it.
Yeah,
all right.
We better do well on this, Kristen.
I know. No pressure.
Tammy, you're first. What is Kristen's favorite place to visit?
Just say it out loud.
Yeah.
Right? Guatemala?
Kristen?
It's true. Yeah.
Okay, so Tammy, so far, she's on the winning streak. Kristen, what is Tammy's favorite food?
Oh, the classic Tammy favorite food is hummus.
Is that right?
Yes, I knew she was going to say that. Ding, ding.
All right, Tammy, if Kristen could have one superpower, what would it be?
Oh, gosh. She says many times on our work Slack, she wishes she had more time. So I'm guessing the ability to add more time into her days and her weeks.
Kristen?
What is incredible about that is if you had asked me, I probably would have said reading minds. But now that I have the option of more time, I'm actually, that is the one I want.
It would be like that movie with Justin Timberlake where he has the time.
Exactly. Yeah.
And Kristen, what is Tammy's favorite movie?
Ooh, what is Tammy's favorite movie?
Come on. You know this.
I know this? How do I know this?
Remember, January 1st. I went to go see it this year because I was so excited. They were remaking it.
Oh God. No, I don't know.
And I told you have to watch this movie because at the end she publishes a book.
I don't know. I'm so sorry.
Is it Little Women?
Yes.
Yes.
There we go.
All right,
I know
CarlyRae.
Tammy now.
You can have the work wife title. You can have it.
All right, Tammy, does Kristen prefer dogs or cats?
Cats. Unfortunately.
All right, Kristen, does Tammy prefer traveling or staying at home?
Oh, that's a false dichotomy. Tammy enjoys both traveling and staying at home.
Yeah.
True.
All right, Tammy, does Kristen prefer everything planned out or working spontaneously?
I would say spontaneously.
Okay.
That's true.
Kristen, what is Tammy's favorite thing to wear?
Tammy loves a set that includes like a good pair of like pencil pants or like straight pants, a heel, and a strong blazer.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Yeah, exactly. when I'm in the office, you know, my wardrobe has really gone downhill this year, but that's what I used to wear.
That's the power outfit, you know?
And Tammy, if Kristen could travel anywhere, where would she go?
Oh, where would she go? I would say someplace new, someplace that she hasn't been before.
Okay. Is that
That's
right,
true.
Kristen? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and finally, Kristen, if Tammy could have one superpower, what would it be?
Oh, Tammy would also want more time. That is definitely the thing.
Yep, exactly.
Well, that concludes how well you two know each other, and I would say you guys know each other really well. So now I'm going to ask you questions from Conversation Starter World, and we're going to see if you can answer them.
Okay.
All right, the first one is, would you rather spend the rest of your life living on a sailboat or in an RV?
I'd say RV because I really just am not an aquatic person. I don't like being on the water.
Yeah, RV. Also because then I get to camp and hike, which are two of my favorite things.
Yeah. Now, would you rather see 10 minutes into your own future or 10 minutes into someone else's future?
10 minutes into someone else's future for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Tammy?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
It's better to just like live your life and not know what's coming next.
Yeah. 3, would you rather have unlimited first-class tickets to anywhere in the world for the rest of your life or never have to pay for meals at a restaurant ever again?
Absolutely first class tickets, hands down. The number of 14 to 20 hour flights that I've done in coach, like, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Especially if we can share these tickets with friends or bring our friends along.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
4, would you rather have your clothes fit perfectly or have the most comfortable pillow, sheets, and blankets in existence?
I think I'm a very lucky human in that my fiance keeps us stocked on comfortable everything all the time. So I would go for the tailoring option. I want my clothes to all fit perfectly all the time.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like that's a better use of resources. It's more expensive to get your clothes tailored than have comfy bed sheets.
Yeah. And then the last one, would you rather suddenly be elected as a senator or suddenly become a CEO of a major company?
Well, we've already got our baby that we're running. So I'd prefer to continue running. She's the first and not be thrust into our government at this moment. What about you, Tammy?
I would say, you know, how about become CEO of a company, write a big check to She's the First, and then resign and come back to She's the First.
There we go. Well, that concludes game time. Kristen and Tammy, I want to thank you so much for being on Book Hour and joining us today. Before you go, tell viewers if you're writing more books.
We might. Give us a few years and check in again.
Now, if viewers want to follow you on social media, where can they find you?
At Tammy Tibbetts.
At CJ Brandt and at She's the First.
You heard Kristen and Tammy. Go and check them out now. All of their social media handles are in the description below. Tammy and Kristen, thank you so much for being on Book Hour. And for those watching, I hope you have a great day.
Thanks, CarlyRae.
Bye.
Bye.